Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Ring of Honor Resurrected. We are running the show. We had a pretty good, well, it wasn't that great, but it was pretty good. We had a good pay-per-view. I did an okay show after that. A lot of stuff happening in it. It wasn't as great of a score as we kind of hoped for, but, you know, it's okay. We're doing okay. If we're in the green, that's to me successful, and so far it's definitely one of the weakest shows we've run score wise, but I'm fine with it. I think we're doing okay. We're only a little bit in debt, so yeah, we'll be fine. So I'm recording this right before the new Ring of Honor pay-per-view comes out. You're going to see this after the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So there's going to be a ton of new people probably showing up, new things happening. Everyone's going to be like, why is this not happening? So, I don't know what's going to happen on that show. What I do know is that Ring of Honor now has a brand new logo. So I kind of wanted to field it to you guys. We got sort of the traditional logo here and on the thumbnail of the show. Should we change it? Should we put it to the new Ring of Honor logo that is currently out and available? It's got kind of a retro throwback, and I kind of dig it. But, I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you think? Should we change the logo in the game and to the new one? Should we change it on the thumbnail, or should we keep it the same? Let me know in the comments. So, we got some stuff to do. Last episode, we had Samoa Joe defeating Lee Moriarty. We got Yuta mad at Hot Sauce Williams. And then there was a tag team match. Obviously, Hot Sauce Tracy Williams and Wheeler Yuta, former tag team partners, got a little bit of heat between them going on. Meanwhile, Daniel Garcia and Suzuki are heading towards a clash. We don't have a pay-per-view set for the following month. We're going to probably have it, we're probably going to do every other month. I think 6 pay-per-views a year is probably ample for us. But we'll see. We could always change it. We could always add a few others, do like 8 pay-per-views. But for now, I think that makes the most sense. Castle challenging Hendry for a handicap match. Basically, him and the boys versus his muscle, Jazim, and the prestigious one, Briscoe, saying that FTR and Young Bucks need to figure out who the number one contender is. And obviously, Jay Lethal cutting a promo on Gresham. Foundation is now fully in Jay Lethal's hands, and essentially is kind of casted out Jonathan Gresham as being too weak. Samoa Joe currently our Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. So obviously, Top Prospects tournament ended with, that's weird. Did that not? That should have been. Oh, do I have to click end? Is that it? End tournament. Does that now show up? No, it doesn't. Oh well, we'll add it. we'll end up. I thought I had it slated to win this, but we'll add the defense in here. That's stupid. All right, whatever. Samoa Joe's our world champion. Tag champions are obviously the Briscoes after beating FTR. Mercedes Martinez remaining our women's champion for now. Beat Deonna Purrazzo. Number one contender is set, I believe. I think so. Kind of remember that happening. I think it's Jordan Grace, I want to say. I think Jordan Grace beat a bunch of people in pay-per-view. I don't even remember anymore. Yeah, Jordan Grace defeats everybody for number one contendership. So we're building her up. So, we got some stuff going on here. Television champion, obviously, still Minoru Suzuki. Pure champion changed in between, which is kind of fun. I believe our current pure champion is Matt Sydal, which is very weird. Got taken from Wheeler Yuta. One of the problems, I guess you could say, with having an alliance title is that you don't really get to control who it goes on, right? So there's always a possibility that someone will take that belt, and it'll might ruin some plans. Same thing with our 6-man tag is currently, Adam Cole, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson. Could change over time, right? So a lot of different possibilities there that could shake things up. So it makes it kind of interesting. It also allows us to bring people in from AEW easily. Right now, we do have the ability to ask for alliance loans, but we have to have money for that. And I do not believe we can do any type of talent trades. I just don't know 100%. What I can tell you is that I would bet that AEW is probably not that interested in pretty much sending us anybody. Now, if we wanted a John Moxley, they're not gonna. They're straight up, it's not permitted to have trading between parent companies. Yeah, no, I can cheat. I can always jump into here. So there's always a possibility of bringing people in. It's not too difficult, but it's something I'm trying to avoid. But for the sake of a good story, sake of a good thing, I don't mind doing it. So it's always a possibility to bring some people down. And I think I'm also going to do that every couple months, maybe after the next pay-per-view. If AEW hasn't brought anybody down recently, I might send some people. I might go in and just bring in some people that might be interesting, just to bring them in. Obviously, we still can hire on our own for our own brand, and we certainly will do that. One of the nice things about being us right now is that we can have people that are developmental, but also our core people. Now, a lot of the people that we have set up are our core people already. So they're working both AEW and Ring of Honor, and they're not on developmental contracts, but we do have several that are on developmental contracts that will, be moved up, like Leon Ruff, or there's a couple other ones on here that had been, hired specifically to be brought up. So that's something, Bobby Flaco, something that we had to keep in mind, that Jazim also, that we're trying to develop these guys for AEW, but they're not going to be here forever. But it doesn't mean that we can't hire people for our own brand. So that's something we're going to definitely keep in mind. Anyways, let's get on with the show. Let's get to our next Ring of Honor wrestling episode. Hey guys, so something interesting in between this. Apparently, in this save, the Elite kicked out Matt and Nick Jackson. That is interesting. Something that we have to figure out whether that will be something we follow in Ring of Honor. I mean, I feel like we kind of have to deal with that. That provides an interesting issue in that, our Ring of Honor 6-man tag is Adam Cole. Of course, he's part of the quote-unquote undisputed Elite in AEW. Not sure what is going on there. Let's look at we look at stables from here. I'm curious. Very shocking. It's not uncommon, especially sometimes in some of these mods. If the stables aren't set correctly, they would just, you're usually supposed to set them to always have a certain person. So not part of the Elite. Adam Cole, member of the Elite. So Adam Cole has usurped and taken over, which I wouldn't be shocked if that happened in at some point. So Kenny Omega is there. Interesting. We might have to play into that. Now, we do have a storyline with the Young Bucks already. So that makes things a little bit difficult, because we have Matt and Nick being involved in the storyline with the Briscoes and FTR. The plan was to have them in a triple threat, and I still think we should do that. It just makes we could always put them in a different story as well. We could put them in up to 3 storylines, with them being minor characters, I believe. Just double check that. Like, I think if we were to try to put Matt Jackson and, I don't know, Aqua, AQA in a storyline, blah, I think I'll say no, because he's already a major role. If he was a minor role, if he was a supporting character, it has no problem. I think you can do that up to 3 times. So, if we make a story with Adam Cole being the centerpiece and Matt and Nick kind of being more supporting characters, maybe we could do something. I got to think it through, and I don't know if we're going to see that on this show, but it's a very interesting dynamic, and I think we're definitely going to play into that because we have to provide some synergy with AEW as a child company of theirs, right? So if they're doing something with their characters, we can't just completely ignore it. Like, we can bend it a little bit to our whim, but not a lot. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Let's go ahead. Oh man, we're dropped in money real fast once we hit week 2. Jeez. Yeah, okay. So anyways, let's go ahead. Let's get to the show. All right, Mid-Atlantic sounds A-okay to me. No backstage incidents. We are going to open forum. There's some people upset. We don't have money to pay them off. So I gotta book them well, make them happy if I can. That's always a problem in these type of situations for us. Now, we do have one promise on the table right now that Mercedes Martinez is willing to put over Layla Hirsch at some point in the next 4 months. Something we definitely want to keep in mind. Would be interesting. Obviously, not necessarily in the cards yet, but could be a good potential boon to Layla Hirsch to make her go from recognizable to star, which would be very cool. Very good technical wrestler. It looks weak on paper here, but decent popularity. Something that we could boost if we can get her up higher. Might be a potential good upper mid carder for us if we can kind of play our cards right, and have her defeat our champion or maybe a former champion at that point. Could be interesting. Right now, obviously, Jordan Grace is our number 1 contender, so we're going to be playing that up, but some interesting things to keep in mind as we go forward. Where are we going to be here? Mid-Atlantic. Pick best options, fine. Civic Center sounds A-okay to me. Let's go ahead, let's book a show, see what we got going. Alright guys, we are back with a full 95 minutes plus 2 pre-show matches just to give some people some things to do. Budget be damned. Let's go ahead and let's see what our TV episode of Ring of Honor Wrestling has in store for us. We do have a warning that one wrestler is being used too much, so we'll see how that impacts us. But overall, I'm pretty happy with where this episode shaped out. So let's go ahead and see if we can beat that 50 plus score. So pre-show number 1, we give the Gun Club something to do versus 3 of our developmental members, kind of giving them just opportunity to get in the ring, learn, get a little bit popular before we kind of give them maybe like a repackaging. So it's just give the Gun Club a win, give them some time. Gun Club beat Bobby Flaco, Connor the Rex Claxon, and Brendan Watts. Bobby Flaco takes the pin, and Austin gets it. Austin and Colton about 31, about the same. Billy Gunn 38. And actually, Bobby Flaco looking pretty sharp out there. This is another good one. It's just to see how they develop after we give them some time to work. Can help to see, where they stand. Now, granted, we're only got 250 people in this arena, so we're not like showing them off to the world. But we are getting to see who we might be able to get a good performance out of. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable at this point of maybe putting Bobby Flaco in a storyline in the undercard and putting him in there. It's a little difficult with only having an hour and a half of a show to get everybody in there at all times, but still feeling pretty okay here. We also give Willow a win against a local worker, just to give her a little bit more momentum, let her win some matches. I couldn't get her on the show itself, but she's definitely a baby face that we're going to be building up in the future to try to make her the top baby face, underdog kind of character. Right now, though, she needs work. She's got a pretty decent performance. Like 42 is not bad, but she just needs wins. She just needs bigger popularity. She's got a lot of upside for her, and I do have to tweak some of her stats. Seem a little off, but I think overall we could probably get some good results if we just consistently give her some wins. We start to... Oh, actually, this is another... Was this a pre-show? This wasn't a pre-show. We start the show off with a work the crowd match. Got to show off the strong start. Colt Cabana versus Cheeseburger. I wanted to give Colt Cabana a win. I feel bad because Cheeseburger keeps on losing, but that is kind of his role here. Cheeseburger will get his comeuppance one day, but right now he's happy to just take the L, and I'm fine with that. Once he starts to complain, we'll move him into something else. But for now, Colt Cabana gets a win. 3 minutes, inverted Boston Crab, just a quick work the crowd match. No story really going on, but it got the crowd hotter, gave us a 41. It's not a bad opener. And then we got Samoa Joe coming out to cut a promo on Jay Lethal. And he's got a lot to say about Lethal. Obviously, Lethal is kind of challenging him. Lethal's got a lot of enemies now. He's got Jonathan Gresham on one side, Samoa Joe on the other. And Joe kind of breaks his silence about Lethal. He says, Lethal's a lot of big words these days, but as the man who helped make him, I can tell you that his mouth has always been writing bigger checks than his fists could catch. Always a man who idolized others, who dreamed of becoming them. Well, I've never dreamed of being anybody else, but being the best goddamn submission wrestler in the world. If Lethal wants to fight me, he wants a shot at this title, he can get one. And understand, though, that no members of his pathetic little posse's going to get in my way or interrupt. If anyone does, they will die. Rhett Titus, I will hurt you. Tracy Williams, I will break you. Josh Woods, I will humble you. But Jay, if I have to turn your team into ruins to get to you, I will. But when they do, and it'll be just between you and me, I will end you. So Joe's kind of saying that he's going to go through Lethal's posse to get to him, essentially, because he knows he's got the numbers disadvantage here in a pretty big way, and Lethal's going to, basically have to use those numbers to defend him against Joe. Meanwhile, Joe's threatening to just kind of go through them one by one. Segment does pretty well, 60. This is out of order, but that's fine. We'll have this in the beginning of this match. That's fine. We debut the Righteous, Vincent, Bateman, Dutch, and Vita Von Star show back up in Ring of Honor. I think, and I said I was recording this before the pay-per-view, so I'm pretty sure they're slated to actually show up anyways, and fight Dalton Castle, which is fun. So the Righteous make a speech and re-debut, and Vincent, taking the microphone, kind of meanders in the way that he does, in this sort of weird southern deliverance semi-religious style that he's got. He kind of talks about Ring of Honor and them, and he goes, nothing ever dies. Truly, Even in the darkest of days, even as you move through the veil into the eternal abyss, you live on in memory, in your message, in the minds of your followers, or through the horrors you've created. Ring of Honor is reborn, a second chance, and with it, a new opportunity for those who revel in their own rebirth. But there are no unearned second chances on this plane. You wish to be renewed, you wish to be reborn, you must struggle for it. On my family farm, when I was but a kid, I was taught at a very young age to not help the chickens try to hatch. I would try to. I would go out and see them clawing and pecking at that hard shell, and some just never seemed like they would have the strength to get through. But that was the point. If they didn't have the strength, they would just starve and die. That is the purpose of struggle, to prove your worth, to overcome and become anew. So if you are here in Ring of Honor, you must struggle. You must prove your worth. And if so, the righteous welcomes you. But if you don't, he will be here to be your end. So righteous is kind of taking this opportunity to kind of claim that, like, they're here to help people. You know, they're here to provide that struggle, or to expel those that aren't worthy. So it's an interesting element where they're kind of taking the shape of this sort of gatekeeper, where they view themselves as sort of on a noble purpose to inflict suffering to make people better, which is kind of an interesting element. Obviously, now we're going to go into their match. They all got pretty okay, except for Bateman got a pretty poor gimmick. But Vincent got a great rating. Dutch got a great rating. The segment itself is a little underwhelming, which is a kind of a shame. Got the crowd hotter, though. Match itself is better, as we have the Righteous versus Alex Zane and the Sydal brothers. Matt Sydal now currently our pure champion. The Righteous defeat Alex Zane and Sydal brothers. Mike Sydal takes the pinfall after getting hit with a time to shine. Vincent gets the win. Dutch had a 53. Bateman had a 43. Vincent had a 43. All pretty good. Alex Zane, Mike, and Matt all hovering. Well, actually, Mike's at a 45, which is pretty good. Alex Zane's at 57. Matt at a 66. Vincent off his game. Was a little too short for an important match, so we suffered a little bit there. But looking at this, if we maybe made this a little bit longer, I think we would have got like a 55. So that's good to know. Got the crowd buzzing. It's a little early for that. But overall, pretty good match. Good debut for the Righteous, as those who are trying to reinvent themselves or find rebirth suffer under them. And the Righteous prove that they are here and that they serve a purpose and they are not to be trifled with. We have Jordan Grace versus AQA in a very quick match that's very poor. AQA had a 24. Jordan had a 45. Jordan Grace defeats AQA in 2 minutes by submission. Gets us a 33. Jordan afterwards calls out Mercedes Martinez to share some words. Apparently, despite not actually being on the mic, Mercedes was confused about what to do and struggled without a script. But the two shared some jabs off the mic as, you know, they kind of calling each other out. Eventually, there's a pushing match, and the two start brawling, leading to the staff to come out to break up the fight. Ugh, that's a really poor segment here. That's a real bummer. Minoru Suzuki versus Daniel Garcia here in an angle. It's a contract signing. Suzuki and Garcia share some brief words during a contract signing in the ring. Garcia says that it's always been a goal to challenge and beat Minoru Suzuki. Suzuki grabs the microphone and looks at him and goes, "I don't even know who you are." Garcia laughs at him and just kind of taking that in and goes, yeah, you will, before leaping over the table to attack him. Gets a few good hits in, but unfortunately Garcia gets kind of caught by Suzuki at some point and overcome, gets a gotcha-style pile driver into the table. Suzuki walks away, but is wiping blood from his mouth, forming a little bit of a sinister smile, a little sense of respect building for Garcia there. Unfortunately, apparently lack of anything interesting in this segment hurt. Probably should have set Garcia to acting. I think I set him to entertainment and Suzuki to menace, which I maybe should have set Suzuki to fighting. I don't know. But either way, got the crowd hotter, hurt the segment, and hurt the storyline. Kind of a bummer. Yuta comes out, kind of redeems it a little bit. We get to green. It's okay. Again, would have hoped for something a little bit higher, but that's fine. Tracy Williams goes to the ring and talks about his beef with Wheeler Yuta. For some reason, I wrote wheel. I don't know why. I got something to get off my chest, Tracy Williams says. Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler is a man that I consider a good friend. We don't always see eye to eye, and we definitely end up on different sides of things now and then. But you know, we ran up together. We tagged together on the independents, and man, the dude just has such a amazing technical mind. He's going to be a really great star one day. But that's not today. The truth is that, you know, he's got that mind for it, but I taught him everything he knows. Long nights in hotels, long road trips. We shared thoughts, and I really helped make him who he will be in the future. And I love the man. I really do. But I think it's gotten under his skin that as good as he is, I was always better. And Wheeler, at that point, comes out looking to square up with him. He starts talking to him back and forth, and they start pushing each other, looking pissed. Regal comes out, both Yuta's manager and also technically the GM of Ring of Honor, which is kind of a weird conflict of interest. But he comes out, he's furious about this, and he goes, "Gentlemen, if you want to do this, you do this the right way in the ring right now." The two have a match, and nod and agree, and we get an impromptu match for Ring of Honor tonight. It's 44. It's okay. Yuta has a groundswell of public support. Tracy Williams did very good in the mic, as good as he's going to get. Match itself is okay. I think we got some problems here with Wheeler Yuta and William Regal on different sides of the face-heel divide, which is kind of a general problem with the Blackpool Combat Club, maybe. Unfortunately, it was fed into a rowdy crowd, which I did not expect, and we got a penalty for it. I think with this sort of technical match, we would have had, probably a really good match. We probably would have had, a 57, honestly. Overall, though, still okay. It's a 50. Tracy Williams defeats Wheeler Yuta. He puts some action behind his words. He says he's better than Wheeler, and he ends up defeating him. But it's with a quick cradle. It's not with a real clean move, right? So there's still some question there. There's some lingering doubt. It's very clear that that's not going to be the thing that Wheeler wants. And obviously Tracy is kind of showing him up a little bit. Afterwards, as a sign of good faith, Tracy Williams offers him the handshake for the Code of Honor. Again, Tracy's kind of a heel, but he's still a friend to Wheeler, and he's trying to offer that. But Wheeler pushes him away and totally doesn't want anything to do with it. Walks away again. We lose some heat for the story segment, unfortunately. Tracy is struggled with going off script in this segment somehow. And it gets only a 38, which is kind of a bummer. Wow. Also, kind of a bummer. How the hell did this only get a 48? We got FTR versus the Young Bucks. The fans did hate the ending, which is to be expected, but it is an exceptional match. Otherwise, FTR go 25 minutes with the Young Bucks and then end with a double count out. Nick Jackson's head and shoulders above everybody else, doing very good. We lose some heat for our storyline, unfortunately. Did get the crowd buzzing, but afterwards, in the aftermath, we find out that both teams go move to move by the end of it, really have learned each other, but end up getting in a situation where both of the teams end up getting out of the ring at the same time, struggling to get in. Both try to leap in, but they leap in at like 10.5 and get a count out. So now we have a situation where this was supposed to decide a definitive winner. Now there's confusion. This is going to obviously lead into a triple threat match with FTR, Young Bucks, and the Briscoes. That's kind of what we're building towards here. So it kind of had to be a double count out, but it did hurt our rating. End segment here's a 58. I'm hoping we get a 50, but it's not looking great right now. 46. Yeah, that's a real bummer. Real bummer. We do increase our popularity. It's still okay, but it's just not the rating that I wanted. We had some flubs in here in terms of balancing the crowd that really hurt us. I just didn't expect them to be rowdy, to be honest. So I probably needed something to cool them down. Probably, maybe even the Jordan Grace match could have been one that just cool them down, which would have been smart. But it would just set as regular, and it never chilled the group. But good to know for the future. 46 is okay. End of the day, if this is green and we're gaining popularity in regions, I'm pretty happy with it. But definitely not the direction we want to go in terms of the ratings. All right. Boy, kind of a bummer. Still good viewing. I'm happy with the story where we're going there. But a little upset with the rating. We could take a look at what the game felt it was. I'm going to assume that people thought it was pretty good. Even if it's maybe under my personal feelings. It was pretty good. Pretty good all around. Again, as far as I know, if you are the way to rate your shows are if you're above, I think it's like 10 points. It might be 8 points. If you're 8 points above that region's rating, you'll gain popularity. If you're within a certain margin, you'll basically not lose it, and if you're below it a certain margin, you'll lose it. So as long as we're gaining, that's okay. So really, we're looking at for tri-state region, we're looking at a 39 or 49 or higher. I think I want to say that is how you gain popularity. We could take a look here real quick. Relative to company size, with regards to size, does it actually tell us here? Of course it doesn't. I swear that's what it is. You guys can tell me down in the comments, but I'm pretty sure I want to say it's 8. It might be 10, but basically you have to be above your size threshold in a region to gain popularity there. So far we are gaining just a little bit. We gain basically one popularity point per area, which is A-okay. Slow growth, but that is fine. And, I'm still happy with it, but I would love to have a 50 or higher for these shows. So that is what it is. Anyways, that's it for me today. Pretty good episode. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you next time.